Hello, I'm Justin Webb. I'm a graduate student in the Kennesaw State University's MAGIC program, which is a Master of Arts in Integrated Global Communication. And today, they've asked me to do a sit-down with an expert in the communication field, so I chose Mr. Reg Griffin. Reg is a really talented communicator, and he is currently in charge of the communication at the Department of Early Childcare and Learning, which is basically Georgia's pre-K. And Reg is the Chief Communication Officer. Thanks for being with us today, Reg. How you doing?
I'm doing good, Justin. Thanks a lot for having me.
Communication-wise, what does a day look like for you as far as internal, external? I know you have you're trying to communicate to so many different places at one time throughout the entire state. I mean, what does a typical day look like?
Well, we try to communicate with about 500 media outlets across the state, and that can be anywhere from the Atlanta TV stations or the TV stations in the other large metropolitan areas around Georgia, Macon, Columbus, Augusta, Savannah, down to local newspapers in different small towns. Now, one thing that I've seen in my years of working in communications, there are far fewer media outlets than there used to be. There used to be a small town paper in practically every small town, and we're not seeing that as much anymore. We're also seeing more of a consolidation of a lot of broadcasting outlets, so that the radio stations that used to have their own individual unique personalities are somewhat homogenized now and use a lot of syndicated programming. The good news for us as a state agency is they are still very much interested in local news and statewide news that is made local, and our content is very much local because it doesn't get much more grassroots than a local childcare program in your community or a pre-K classroom in a public school or a private program right down the street. So our content is popular because it has to do with children. To some extent, it has to do with tax dollars, which people are always interested in, although we're a little bit different because we're mostly funded by federal funds and the Georgia Lottery. So that makes us a little bit different. But we try to communicate on a pretty regular basis with all of those, whether that's proactively sending out a news release, which is still the preferred way of doing things. A news release is essentially an invitation for them to do a story. Now, there are some outlets that will run your news release verbatim. So it's important for anyone who's working in this field to write a news release that is ready to go. It shouldn't be, a lot of people will do a media advisory that might have a few lines on it. That's still risking the chance that they might not be able to cover your story where they could run it verbatim.
So, Reg, I know you've been in this business for a long, long time. What do you think how do you think social media has changed really what your job is and how to get to the people?
Social media has been one of those things that has been a blessing and a curse for a lot of people. When I first got involved in it, was probably the late 2000s, 2005, 2006. And now in 2020, what I tell people is you're no longer beholden to traditional media to get your message out there. You can get it out yourself. You can send it through social media. So when I joined Decal in 2012, we had literally 45 followers on Facebook. Wow. I saw it as a perfect mechanism, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, to get to our demographic, because we're probably looking at parents or moms of young children in a lot of cases. So we're looking primarily at female in a lot of cases, between the ages of really late teens to late 30s, early 40s, childbearing years. And where do they spend most of their time? They spend most of their time on social media, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest. We have a YouTube channel. We spend a lot of time. And so since 2012, with those 45 followers, we've since raised that to nearly 18,000 on Facebook, and really grown significantly all the others as well. So you've got traditional media, and then you've got social media that takes your message directly to your audience. So
Well, that's some very, very good, insightful material that you've given me today, Reg, and shared with us, and I really appreciate it. Unfortunately, we're out of time in what we have. We only have so much, they're only allowing me so much time. We could go on for hours, I'm sure. So thank you so much for joining in, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thanks a lot, Justin. I appreciate it.